Welcome back, everyone. My name is Stefan Knutsson, and I'm an equity analyst here at ABG. Today we have IT consultancy company Avensia with us and their CFO Anders Veitje. Welcome, Anders.
Thank you so much. Should I take it from here?
Yes.
Well, welcome everybody. I had obviously hoped that I would meet all of you, in a different way and form, but I guess we have very different days and times right now, at least. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be here and speaking to all of you. Stefan, I think that you can go to the next slide. My name is Anders Veitje, and I'm the CFO of Avensia. I started 1st of January. I joined Avensia as CFO. Previous to that, I was actually a member of the board for 14 years, so my career kind of goes a bit backwards. A bit an odd career move, I would say, but very exciting to be part of Avensia's operating management team indeed. I am also one of the major shareholders of Avensia, which makes it even more exciting to have joined Avensia, I must say. Stefan, I think you can take the next one, where Avensia's vision is outlined. We have a very ambitious vision, a very bold ambition, and that is to be the leading global expert in modern commerce. This is a vision that was put in place, I think, as late as last year, or if it was 2018. We'll come back and speak a little bit about the history of Avensia that has changed over time. But today we are a company focusing on modern commerce. Next slide, please. I think it's quite natural, of course, to touch upon the corona pandemic, first of all, or the COVID-19. I guess this virus and the situation we're in comes with many names. We as a company, and I guess that goes for most companies out there, we are obviously affected by the corona pandemic. That goes without saying. And our focus, and I guess most parties' focus during this, call it, initial phase of the pandemic has been obviously, to safeguard the health and safety of our employees, customers, partners, and other stakeholders that we have. We have adhered to government recommendations in all the different countries where we operate, mainly in the Nordics, but we have a few other outposts in the world as well. We will talk a bit about them a bit later. Most of us are working from home today, and I think, and I guess that applies to many of you people listening in to this presentation today. And for us, it's actually something that we are quite used to. We have a lot of people spread out on many different offices, and our service delivery to our customers often consist of teams that are being put together of people sitting in different geographical locations. So we have actually managed to cope very well, I must say, with now being more spread out than we were even before. And we have managed quite well, to continue to deliver value to our clients. What we also think and believe, and I think start to see, is that the corona pandemic is also accelerating the retail digitalization. We can clearly see that customers understand now even more and even better, and some people obviously and some businesses have learned it in a very a painful way, obviously, that you have to have a digital component of your business offering today to safeguard your business for all possible scenarios that can happen. that is clear, and I think that is something that will benefit companies like Avensia going forward. We have listed here Coop Norge, which is an old and very dear client of ours that we have worked with many years. Avensia assisted them in providing and putting up with an extreme time pressure, I must say, a site that enabled them to deliver to many residents in Norway. And it was a site, I think it was delivered within 2 weeks' time. So we have had things like that also happening with the clients coming in with demand on a very short notice. I said in the beginning that we have been affected. Obviously, we see a bit of reluctance among our present customers. We see potential new customers pushing investment decisions into the future. So there is a bit of I shouldn't say hesitation. I think many management teams and many boardrooms around the world, cash preservation is now, the main focus. So I think, a bit of negative impact short term, definitely increased opportunity mid to long term. And Avensia, obviously, we're not part of the problem, but we can be a significant part of the solution for very many players out there. If we take a look at the next slide, I'm just briefly going to touch upon some of the trends that our customers are facing today. Obviously, globalization and digitalization is a major trend. We see a lot of nationalistic trends right now in if we look at the globe from a political perspective. We think, however, that this will have very little, if any, impact on consumer trade patterns. And that is obviously what will drive our clients' business models. So definitely that, an increased globalization. We're truly having one world from a consumer perspective. Our clients, they need to have a holistic multi-platform view on customers. They need to be able to face the customers in a uniform manner, regardless of channel, and regardless if it's in a store, if it's online, if it's in social media, whatever it might be. The need for speed is also becomes more and more apparent. It applies to us. Only a couple of years ago, we had clients coming to us and they were actually quite happy when we said that, okay, we can do all these things for you and we'll be ready in 7-8 months. And they said, great. Today they come to us and if we say 7 to 8 weeks, they say, no, that doesn't work. It needs to be even faster. So the need for speed is there also when it comes to what these solutions need to do for the clients of our clients. People going online, people consuming online, there is often a very short attention span that needs to be captured by the solutions offered by our clients. And if you don't succeed in capturing the attention of the consumer during that very short period of time, well, then the consumer might go to the competition or go somewhere else. Strong trend coming, re-commerce and sustainability. Re-commerce being that clothes, for instance, maybe, big companies selling clothes. They also start to rent clothes, or they arrange for portals where people can resell clothes that they have owned for, some time. Very strong trend. Logistics and fulfillment options becoming more and more important. Customization and personalization. Today it's not only like, our clients, they don't only want, they also need to start to understand who their consumers are in a much better way than they did historically. Where do we live as consumers? What sex do we have? How old are we? Everything when it comes to consumption patterns, and when during daytime do we do the shopping? When and where do we want to pick up our goods or services or whatever it might be? We also see kind of I would say that there is a bit of a polarization in the market when it comes to experience versus transaction. Some clients, they need to build kind of an experience around their offering. It's not only about selling a t-shirt or whatever it might be. It's about providing an experience for the client, build a very strong relationship to the client over time in all different kind of channels. And we have the other side, which is extremely quick. It could be groceries, it could be for me to build to buy a printer refill or something like that. I don't really care where it comes from. I have no real relationship with the seller. I just want that one thing. I want it very quickly, very easily. I want it cheap, and I want it probably delivered yesterday. Another big thing, obviously, coming into play, artificial intelligence, voice, video, all sorts of chatbots, etc. Physical and digital blending together. We do have people that only operate on a digital basis. We have people no longer maybe, but with an extremely strong focus on physical. But I think that these two things start really to blend together, where a physical presence is needed, but where a digital presence is definitely needed as well, and these two come together. Also historically, it might have been very clear if a company was business to consumer, business to business, direct to consumer, or maybe just selling through marketplaces like Amazon or Zalando or some other player. But this also starts to come together, and it might not be clear anymore where our clients operate, and most often they need to be operating in all these different kind of segments. If we go to the next slide, basically capturing, I was about to say our mission, but it's not necessarily our mission. But Avensia, we increase the competitiveness and profits for our customers through products and services for modern commerce. So that's that's capturing what we are delivering. I'm coming back to that a little bit later on. If we take the next slide, it talks a little bit about Avensia as a company, and we have actually a history that goes back 22 years. Avensia, then with a completely different name called Luvit, was founded in 1998 in Lund. It was an offspring from Lund's University, and it was focused on e-learning back then. And very early on, it got a public listing on Nasdaq or MEX First North. I think this was, I know this was back when we had the IT bubble at the end of 99, early 2000. So the company looked very, very different then, but it's the same legal entity. Today we are more than 250 people, modern commerce experts, not necessarily all of us, but the absolute majority of us are experts when it comes to modern commerce. And we are also 100% focused on modern commerce. We started off as an e-learning company. That changed around 2007, 2008, where we merged with two other companies, and there was a couple of years where Avensia was kind of a fairly tiny IT conglomerate. Then we took a decision to strategically focus on the e-commerce side of things. Back then we were only talking about e-commerce. Today we talk about modern commerce because it's a much broader concept than it was only a couple of years ago. And today we do, I shouldn't say everything because we don't do everything, but we do, we start early on in our service offering with trend spotting and strategic advice. That's often the entry point to creating strong client contacts over time. We do systems implementation, and once we have been advising the clients, we have implemented new systems, then we often also support them in daily operations. We have many different brands, business to business, business to consumer clients, and we have customers that are doing digital business in more than 150 countries across the globe. The next slide shows where we are present physically. We have a very strong focus on the Nordics, obviously, being a Swedish company. We have offices in Lund, Malmö, Göteborg, Stockholm, and Umeå. We also have a presence in Oslo, which Norway is actually our second biggest market after Sweden. We are present in Copenhagen. We opened up an office in Chicago. I think it was 2 years ago now, which is exciting. Big market, obviously, lot of potential. And we also have an office on the Philippines in Cebu, where we are creating and building and recruiting and putting together a very strong development team of people. Presently, I think there are 40 people in the Philippines, and that's obviously something that we see that we will grow going forward. Next slide. Capturing again a little bit what Avensia is about. We are fueled by knowledge and experience, and we focus relentlessly on generating business value and driving customer success. We provide strategic advice, business support, and world-class modern commerce solutions. I think I touched upon those things already to some extent in the presentation. The next slide shows some of our clients. There are quite a few brands on there that I think most of you are familiar with. Some of them, I was about to say I'm not even familiar with them myself, but I'm slowly getting to know all the clients. But I think Naked is obviously a company that is often mentioned as one of kind of a groundbreaking digital players out there. I mentioned Coop Norway, I think, previously. Shell & Company have been a dear client of ours for a long time. We also work with Nilsson Group, Stenströms, another very reputable brand, and there are many others. Stefan, if you take the next slide. This is going a little bit deeper on Avensia and our business model. I think that the first 3 points here to create profitable modern commerce requires a broad competence. Our approach is to be both broad and focused, highly skilled and experienced experts. Tells us and tells you that this is really a business that is about people, attracting the right talent and retaining talent, obviously, building a strong culture, and really giving the people the feeling, our dear employees, the feeling that with Avensia they should be able to develop, and they should be given the feeling that they are at the forefront when it comes to developing modern commerce solutions for many of the global brands out there. We also work a lot with products and intellectual property. Obviously, we do a lot of development work, a lot of coding, a lot of programming, and major parts of that work is being packaged in different ways and being reused also as a way to be more efficient, as a way to offer the clients better prices over time, etc., etc. But also to create a more sticky relationship with our clients. Last year we acquired, which is very exciting, not right now because their business has actually come to a standstill. We acquired a company in the UK called Insider Trends, who works with trend spotting when it comes to the physical part of shopping and consumption. And they do a lot of retail safaris and other things. And obviously now with COVID-19 going around, that business is slower. But we are very excited because it puts Avensia in contact with some of the really global brands in the world. We also work and have strong global partnerships with software providers like Microsoft, Episerver, Riversand, and InRiver. Sorry. Very briefly, our key financials, 2019, we had a turnover of 300 million plus, with an EBIT profit of 26.7, net margin of 8.8, and we left 2019 with a market cap of 528 million. You can jump into the next one, Stefan. A summary of our Q1 revenues of 89 million. Which was a growth of 8% year over year, and with an EBIT of 8.2 as compared to 12.2 last year. Our revenue, as you can see, grew 8%. Our staff grew with 25%, so that is, I would say, the main explanation why we see a deterioration in the margin. It's I would say, a conscious management decision behind these numbers. Next slide, showing what I talked about before a little bit with stickiness to our clients. We have a business model. We do have very long-term relationships with our clients. Our billing and revenue model is often based on hours sold. But the clients and criticalness of these systems and other things that we do deliver to our clients normally it makes us end up with customer relationships that goes on for 5-6 years and even longer, and that is of course a big help, especially in times like the ones we are facing right now. The next slide, I think the last one, the future for us is obviously, volatile, but we see a significant and increasing global opportunities. We are preparing for an acceleration and growth post-corona. We are hiring talent right now. Not that we are hiring anyone coming through our door, but we are quite excited actually because the recruitment market has changed dramatically over the last 2 months, and all of a sudden it's much easier for us to attract and retain key talent, which makes us excited for the future. We will continue to focus on innovation, intellectual property and products. And always be prepared for further change and development. That is when we no longer manage to do that, then we can no longer be an expert within modern commerce. And obviously our approach, I would say, has always been a very high degree of customer focus, and we use a lot of agility in the way we work in general. I think that was it, Stefan. Sorry for stressing things a little bit.
Thank you, Anders, for the presentation. Unfortunately, we're running on a tight schedule, so I have only one question here until the time is up. And you mentioned that you have some short-term negative effect from COVID-19. I'm wondering about your visibility in the current market and how it has been affected.
Well, I would say, as I said before, our revenue and billing model, that is an hourly based consultancy model. However, we have long-term relationships with our clients. We have a kind of strategic, or we are partners in the more strategic discussions that our clients are having. So I would say that we have a fair visibility. I couldn't, put numbers to that visibility, but we can put a fairly good feeling to that visibility. And as I said, short term, definitely, demand is slower. Medium to longer term, we are quite optimistic actually that business will come back. But obviously, and we also don't give out any forecasts and stuff like that. But that is our definite feeling summarized.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that answer, Anders, and thank you for presenting with us today.
Thank you for having me.